Today I've got a few shop projects that I want to get done, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to get my EcoFlow solar generator in here and see what all it can handle. We took this thing camping about a week ago and I was pretty impressed as far as what all it would run in our trailer, so I'm very curious to see what all it will run here in the shop. I think this is only supposed to make 30 decibels of sound, which I don't even know when it makes that because it's basically silent while you're using it. I can envision a lot of uses for this, one of which would be like running the freezers in here in the event of a power outage. What's so nice about solar generators is since they don't burn gasoline or any kind of a fuel like that, you could run them inside. I could run this inside my house and power stuff in there, and I don't have to worry about poisoning myself with carbon monoxide. These batteries are supposed to last for around 10 years and there's zero maintenance on the generator as well. As you guys know, I have several gas-powered generators and I use them quite often, but honestly, I see using the EcoFlow a lot more now because I don't have to listen to it, I don't have to put gas in it, and I don't have to maintain it. If you guys are interested in getting a Delta 2 Max or anything else from EcoFlow, I'll leave some information in the description below so that you can go check it out. My goal today is to make some pipe stands so that while I'm notching all the pipe down there, I'm not sitting on my knees down on the ground. It would be much nicer to have that pipe up at about waist level so that I could work on it. And then I need to make some cutting guides for the notches themselves. Since I need to notch 2 3/8 oil pipe to fit up to 2 7/8 oil pipe, my cutting guides that I have here are not gonna work because these are designed to notch pipe to fit up to its same size, basically. So like if you were notching 2 3 to mate up to 2 3, this is the ticket. So I need to figure out how we're gonna take care of that problem, get the stands made for the pipe, and then I should have everything that I need ready to go to start welding the pipe in on the fence down there. So we've got a lot to do today. We better get started. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. Building stands or sawhorses or whatever you want to call them, it's a constant trade-off between strength and weight. And for these, obviously, I don't want them to weigh a ton. I'm gonna have to be moving these around and carrying them, and you know, the lighter they are, the better, but they still need to be strong enough to do what I need them to do. So my design is as follows. I'm taking this 2x2 square tubing with a 1/16 of an inch wall, or around 0.65, and I'm gonna use that for the upright part of the stand. I will somehow weld that square tubing to these old brake rotors off of my truck. On the top of the stand, I'm gonna use some of this 3-inch angle iron to make sort of like a little cradle to hold the pipe. This will do a good job of holding it steady enough so that I'm not pushing it all over the place, but then when I do need to turn the pipe, it'll be easy to do that as well. Let's see what that EcoFlow can do. I'm pretty happy with these stands. They, the footprint's not very big, so I'm a little bit wondering about like how steady they're gonna be, because I'm almost never gonna use them in a shop setting, at least I don't think. More often than not, they're gonna be used outside on the dirt. So time will just kind of have to tell on that. If I need to weld little extension feet on them to make them more stable, then I can do that. But for now, they are a little bit heavy, but the weight is in the right place. It's down low, which makes it a little more solid when you try to kind of tip them over. So we'll see. They're gonna keep me up off of my knees while I'm working on this pipe, and that's the main thing. So far, with the exception of the welder, obviously, the EcoFlow has powered every single power tool that I've thrown at it. The chop saw did trip the overload once, but it's kind of my fault because, for one, my blade is really dull right now, and I was hogging into the metal pretty hard, so that did do it. But under normal use, it has no problem running that chop saw. And what I'm noticing that's kind of cool is that the solar panel seems to be able to charge the battery at about the same rate that I am using it, because you got to think, when you're using a grinder, chop saw, whatever, you're not just constantly taking power. You make your cut, you do whatever, and then you make another cut. So in that downtime, the solar panel is pretty much being able to keep up with me. I think we started at around 30% or so, and we're still right in that range. So the next thing that I need to figure out is, how am I gonna make proper consistent notches on my 2 3/8 pipe to fit up to the 2 7/8 pipe. I already mentioned that my cutting guides don't do this in their current form, but I've got an idea of how I can get this done. My plan is to take this piece of 2 7/8 pipe, cut a good notch in it, and then I will use that notch to then trace a pattern onto 2 3/8 pipe. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Got my new notch cut in my 2 3/8 pipe here, and you could see how I used the shape from the 2 7/8 notch by slipping the smaller pipe inside of that pipe. That's how I got my outline here. And as you can see, it actually came out really good. That notch fits about as good as I could hope for. I do believe that after doing this like 50 times, 80 times, whatever it ends up being, I should get pretty fast at it, and I should get a lot better at it. And I don't think that every single one that I cut is gonna take as long as this one did. It is very important that these notches are both clocked the same. And if you don't know what I mean by clocked, I'll use this little short piece as an example. So right now, these notches are not clocked the same at all. In fact, they couldn't be more different. You could see that the notch on this side is like straight up and down. We'll call that a 12 o'clock notch. The notch on this side is perfectly flat. We'll call that like a 3 o'clock. Well, if these two pieces represent our posts, you can see how the two notches need to be the same so that it'll fit into our two parallel posts, if that makes sense. So how am I going to achieve this? The easiest way is if you have a piece of angle iron that's as long or longer than the horizontal pipe that you're going to be cutting, and you can just use that angle iron to make a line all the way down the pipe that you know is pretty straight. The trouble is I don't have a piece of angle iron that's the right length at the moment, and it seems like if I ever do, they don't last very long because I'm always using it for something. So rather than rely on myself to have a long piece of angle iron, I want to come up with something that's a little bit more like designed for this that I won't be using for anything else. Basically, it will be like having another tool in the toolbox. I'm taking my 2 7/8 pipe here that has the good notch cut on the end. This is a little bit special the way I ground this down so that it makes the proper shape on the 2 3/8 pipe. But I just want to cut this off maybe at, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches, and I will show you what my idea is from there. All right, I think I'm done with everything. We've done a lot of work today. I've put a lot of stuff together, and if it's not making sense how it's all gonna work together, let me give you a little demonstration. Pipe on the stand, we can now take our template here, slide it on until the pipe sticks out. And then I can put a level here on the angle iron and rotate that until it is centered. So once I have my cut mark drawn out on this side, then I can pull this whole contraption off, take it down to the other side and do the same thing. And I think that is gonna get my notches clocked almost perfectly. It's really just gonna depend on how much time I take to get this little jig or whatever you want to call it leveled out. The 2400 watt EcoFlow Delta 2 Max solar generator really impressed me today. It ran all of my power tools with the exception of the welder and the plasma cutter, obviously, because they need 220 power. Today the solar panel pretty much kept up with what I was doing. I think the battery percentage hovered around 32 to 34% all day, and that was with me using it. But I should note that you can plug this into AC power and charge it in a little over an hour. If you have AC power and the solar panel charging it at the same time, it's more like 45 minutes. You can also add additional batteries to these to get your capacity up to 6,000 kilowatt hours. Probably wouldn't really be necessary for working in the shop, but like when we take this thing camping to power our travel trailer, something like that might be really nice. Expect to see this being used in plenty of upcoming videos because I am just tickled with how good this thing works. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.